That whole lot was the playground. It was a beautiful beach. This is where we played football when we were kids, when we were like 10 years old. From this part to the further end was the beach, and where we are standing now is the middle of the playground.
Jofar Khalid has spent his entire life on this small island and has watched its beaches disappear into the ocean.
To protect our beach, we built that wall all around the lagoon. I realize now how much this place has eroded and how much beach we have lost, and I'm deeply saddened by that.
The sea has been devouring Tulushfu, one of the 1,200 islands of the Maldives, for several decades. And now, this erosion threatens the land. Hundreds of palm trees lining the coast have already disappeared.
Every day, a small bit is lost to the waves, as trees and palms are brought down. Once the trees are gone, the beach doesn't have the power to protect itself anymore. What's left here now soon will be washed away. Here's the beach as it was before. I wish that it could one day look like this again. We have lots of fond memories of this place where everybody comes and hangs out. And when you see this now, it's very sad.
Tulushfu Island is just one of a dozen examples. Boduhura, Kureduparu, these patches of paradise have already disappeared from the map. It's a climate and humanitarian emergency for which the countdown has already begun. In October 2009, at a depth of 6 meters, members of the Maldivian government held history's first underwater council of ministers. This astonishing action was a cry to the world to take drastic measures against global warming and the rising sea levels that threaten to submerge the Republic of the Maldives. This archipelago, located in the heart of the Indian Ocean, has 26 atolls. 1,200 pristine sandy islets lie less than a meter above sea level. At the current rate, 80% of the archipelago will be submerged by 2050, while marine pollution is slowly decimating its delicate biodiversity. This heavenly web of islands exists on borrowed time. In the northern part of the Maldives lies the private island of Kudahura. Nearly 150 islets in the archipelago are operated by luxury hotels like this one, which have often been accused of contributing to the country's pollution. But in recent years, many of these tourist sites have taken an eco-responsible turn to protect their lagoons.
These fragments are alive and from a colony, so we will place them in the frame. It will actually encrust into the frame and then grow into be its own colony. So in around 3 years, this frame should be fully grown.
Alejandra and Mani are marine biologists. They work in partnership with this hotel on a coral cuttings grafting project on these artificial structures. These little animals with their mineral skeletons could help save the Maldives.
So whenever the waves are breaking near the island, it actually absorbs all the energy, so it prevents it from erosion and things like that. So that's how coral reefs protect the islands.
Due to warming oceans, 80% of the country's corals have been wiped out. But at the foot of these luxury villas,
Can you please monitor that frame for photos?
hope seems to be reborn. These coral transplants come from the most resistant species and can survive the warmer currents.
These guys are actually doing really well in this area, and we normally have a lot of fish swimming around there because it protects them, and as well it provides a lot of food for them. It gives a lot of hope, yes. Especially after how much coral we lost and the bleaching and everything, this definitely brings a little bit of hope and happiness around.
The hotel complex even has a marine studies center where the collected data is sent. This French engineer has created state-of-the-art software for this program, which monitors its development using artificial intelligence.
Each little square means the computer has automatically detected a coral. Therefore, it tells us what species it detected, and the dead coral is in green. When we used to analyze the growth of corals, we had to go underwater, dive with a board, and note all the colonies one by one. Today, the studies have gone to the next level, and we can now automatically analyze 70,000 colonies at once with the computer.
The Maldives also made the choice to scale up in an attempt to protect their inhabitants. On the island of Malé, the capital, nearly 230,000 people already crowd just over 2 square kilometers. In order to resist the rising waters and house its growing population, the authorities decided to build an artificial island created entirely from scratch. This is Hulhumale, the city of hope in the Vehi. Hasim Khan is one of the architects in charge of the project.
What we did was we reclaimed this island, which was non-existent before. It was water. So we reclaimed it to a height of 2 meters above the water level to make this artificial island.
This titanic project came to life in 2001, and 20 years later, the first small island was built with industrial and residential areas. 45,000 inhabitants have already moved here. Hasim agreed to take us across this bridge, which is still prohibited for the public, to show us the second islet of Hulhumale. The plan here is to build a business district, a marina, a university, and new hotels to attract more tourists.
We are going to use that sand for reclamation and other construction purposes.
And where the sand is coming from?
This is the sand we dig from the sea.
The final construction of Hulhumale will have required 10 million cubic meters of sand. The total cost would be $35 billion, part of which is financed by China, a strategic move to strengthen the Maldives' position in the Indian Ocean.
And you see this housing blocks, you see these buildings over there, they are all residential buildings coming up, which is already under construction. Phase 2 is also targeted for 100,000 people. You can say it's an entire city.
The construction of Hulhumale should be complete by 2035. But this project to save the Maldives from an ecological tragedy comes at another cost. And ironically, it's environmental.
Reclamation may be not the only answer. I mean, now in this day and this with the existing technology, we should try to look at how people can live over the water instead of reclamation, because of course reclamation has its downside of affecting our coral reefs and the underwater habitat.
The artificial islands of the Maldives are not always used wisely. Hassan Bebe created the association Save Our Beaches 10 years ago. It fights environmental pollution.
Here we have our plastic collection. This is a collection of this month. Every day, like after cleaning the beach, maybe after an hour, if you go to the beach, you will find something on the shore, for sure. Like mostly it's found plastic, yeah. It is a very sad story, so that's why I can't stop it. Like I couldn't stop it. We've been doing it for like more than 10 years now, so still we are going. We will do it until we find a solution. What to do?
This plastic ends up on the beaches.
I feel like it's not never-ending job. It is.
But especially in the ocean, where it's ingested by marine fauna and contaminates the entire food chain. But Bebe wants to show us one of the biggest battles he's facing. A few kilometers away from the capital by boat lies the artificial island of Tilafushi.
We are getting to the dump area now. Oh my God.
Nicknamed the Trash Island, Tilafushi was built by the government to contain garbage from all over the archipelago. It is a mountain of waste floating in the ocean, overflowing from every side.
Sometimes they even can't stop the burn because now there is so much gas inside it. It keeps burning itself as well.
When they take trash from the excavator, there's a lot of them, it's getting into the ocean.
Up to 400 tons of garbage is dumped here every day by boats. The toxic material that is released from the waste contaminates the soil and flows into the Indian Ocean.
This is not our colors of the lagoons. The color is coming from all trash and pollution. Like our lagoons looks like turquoise water actually. The blame goes to everyone today. The government also, they're not taking the right actions, or they're not working towards finding the solution for our garbage in the Maldives. And even the tourism sector, there are few islands which are trying to do waste management, proper waste management in the islands. They are trying, but most of the other resorts, they're not doing it.
Despite the hazards, man-made island projects are still flourishing in the Maldives. Now it's a race against time to find the fragile balance between two conflicting ideals: the development of a nation or the protection of its environment.